As a guy who grew up on Mac demo discs, that scream and logo meant quality gaming. Ambrosia Software was responsible for many remakes of classic arcade titles, as well as a few original titles. As I grew up in an area and time that didn't have many arcades, Ambrosia Software was one of the first companies to introduce me to the classics. In 1995, they released a Centipede clone named Empyrion, taking the already addictive game and making it their own, somewhat. Later in 2004, they released Empyrion X that updated the game to run on the modern Mac OSX and reworked the visuals. Let's first take a look at Apeiron Classic and then see what's new later. Surprisingly, there is a story, but it's barely needed. Essentially, your character finds a crystal and all the bugs want it, so you have to defend yourself using the crystal's power. You defend yourself in classic Centipede fashion, being restricted to the bottom area of the screen as the Centipede moves ever closer to the bottom. Your crystal ship in its unupgraded form allows you to shoot one shot at a time, meaning as soon as one shot hits something or disappears, another will be shot from your ship. That is why the mushrooms that litter the screen are important. When you hit a Centipede, a mushroom appears in its place, and that can be a positive or a negative depending on the situation. It is a positive when firing because it means your ship will fire faster than it would have hitting the top of the screen. It can be a negative when the screen is filled with mushrooms, making the Centipede move faster and or limiting your movement on the bottom of the screen without proper upgrades. You can get upgrades randomly by destroying mushrooms. This is where you need to balance the amount of mushrooms on screen and your need for upgrades, because sometimes it takes a while before a token or tokens pop out and fall to the bottom of the screen, either bouncing or disappearing. Upgrades include a mushroom area cleaner, a shield, a curving shot, an ability to move through mushrooms, and the equalizer, a gun that increases the firing rate, making completing levels that much more easier. The issue is that when you die, you lose all your upgrades unless you got the lock. The lock protects the upgrades from one death, allowing you some leeway. Besides the Centipede, there are several enemies that will make the game harder. The flea charges or bounces down the screen, adding a row of mushrooms. The gecko turns regular mushrooms red, making the Centipede charge straight to the bottom of the screen when touched. And one of the most annoying bugs is the scorpion, who appears on the sides of the screen, moving somewhat erratic, causing a portion of the deaths. There are also a few things that you can shoot to increase your score. Hitting the orgasming 2 through 5 numbers will times your bonus by the corresponding number when you finish a level. Hitting the rainbow mushroom will cause the screen to flip out in different trippy colors and semi-obscure your view, but everything will give you more points. So 10 points for mushrooms instead of 1, and 1,000 points for Centipede heads instead of 100. After playing the game for a few hours, I have a few simple tips. 1. Do not hang by the sides of the screen for too long unless the scorpion is on screen, because he likes to ambush you and instantly kill you. 2. Keep moving. Besides charging enemies in later levels, some mushrooms hop down or reflect bullets when shot. 3. Learn mushroom management. Too little and shots take forever to appear when you need them. Too many and you might get overwhelmed by Centipedes. And remember, if a Centipede reaches the bottom of the screen, more start appearing every few seconds. So beware. In terms of music, there is only one song that repeats, but I think it does a good job at giving the player a sense of foreboding as the Centipede rushes down the field. The sound effects are interesting. Moans, squeaks, cries of joy, boings, and other wacky cartoon noises help to separate itself from the original Centipede game. The visuals are bright and colorful and really embrace the on-mushroom style, especially when hitting a rainbow mushroom. The cartoon aesthetic works well to combine the enemies with the cartoon world. Every few levels, the backgrounds and mushrooms change colors so that you get a sense of progression, as well as a fresh new thing to look at. Now, let's look at Empyrion X. First thing to notice right away is that they reworked the graphics. I'm not entirely a fan of the glossiness, but due to my MacBook Pro's screen, I seem to do better with this version, only because of my focused nature gives me tunnel vision and screws me over on a bigger screen. What is nice is that they have preferences for display options, as well as an option to turn off the psychedelic shroom animation, to protect those who can get seizures from flashing lights. What I wish they included was an option to turn the old graphic style on if you wanted, but it's not there. They seem to have an internet scoreboard, but I don't know if it's just me, but I've not been able to get it to work. For me, I don't really care, but others might want to check out the forums if this is an important feature for them. Of course, I think the best thing about this version is the fact you can play it on a modern Mac OSX. While looking up some more information on the company website, I learned that there are cheats for the game as well as graphical mods for both classic and modern versions of the game. I haven't tried out the mods as of yet, but it's cool to think that Ambrosia Software included a game editor for people to fool around with. I think I'm certainly getting my money's worth by how much I've played so far. While playing Empyrion, I came to the realization that this arcade game, along with others, thrives on semi-random events. Meaning in one game I could be constantly killed by the scorpion right off the bat, and then in another I could get the equalizer power-up and burn through a few levels with minimal effort. That semi-randomness is what keeps some players coming back. It reminds me of how in roguelites or lights, the random generation of each game can either be super lucky, terrible, or just okay. It is the same basic principle that you're not always going to do well, but if you can accept that, then Empyrion might be the game to distract you for a while. It gives enough variation on the classic Centipede game and allows you to play it on your computer, be it on an old or a new Mac. If arcade-style games like this interest you, I think it might be worth checking out, as it has a demo on its website. I recommend the demo first, as the game pricing might be steep at $15 for either the classic or the modern versions. The classic version of Empyrion was emulated using Basilisk for Windows. Click the links in the description if you're interested in the game shown or using a pre-OSX emulator for Mac or PC. And feel free to message me if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Any comments, likes, or dislikes on this video or any of my other videos would be appreciated. If you would like to get in contact with me, message me on YouTube or Twitter. And if you want to see any of my previous work or my last reviews, click the links provided.